Welcome back to another episode of We Need to Talk. It's getting a little hazy, and I think we need to talk about the movies that I watched in June. So hopefully this will be a little shorter format of a video. I won't ramble so much. There probably won't even be little segments between for each movie, but do a couple minutes for each one. Hopefully we'll be out of here in light 25 or something instead of the usual hour that I do. So, number one was a little Backrooms action. So, I made a video comparing this to Obsession. It's sort of an unfortunate thing that they got pitted against each other. Just the two young directors making these, new horror franchises. They'll definitely franchise both of them or what have you, but IP them. But this one's pretty bad. It's cool visually. There's a couple good ideas here, and none of them are expounded upon. And kind of the big build out of therapy and like your constructed world in your mind kind of thing just falls super flat. The screenplay is one of the stinkerest of the year so far. But like, I guess for what it is, it's a 20-year-old with, 10 million. This is like, I wouldn't say it's an impressive debut, but there are things on display here where like I'll go watch his next movie. And then I think, like I said in my other video, by Backrooms 3, I think he'll have this figured out. And there'll be less therapy and there'll be more VHS tapes and just weird, cool AI uncanny valley kind of commentary things going on. Because I think the big thing is this is the new defining piece of like the 21st century is to do the internet, to do kind of bring it into the freaking cloud and doing AI, like I said, the uncanny valley thing. I think that is kind of like the zeitgeist. That's what I would say. I think it's fun. If you haven't seen it, like put it on the background in your living room while you like play on your phone, and then occasionally look up and you'll get the swag. Reveal's pretty bad. It's 2 out of 5. It's just a 2 out of 5, and I'm glad I went to see it, and I'm glad bro printed a bunch of money, and it's cool that he got lifted from the YouTube video to go do these things, but the YouTube videos are genuinely stronger display of his skills and of the swag and of the aesthetic than the movie is. Second, on June 2nd, I watched Timmy Pingpong. Also made a video on this. This is just one of the ones I felt inclined to talk about because it just felt like it was getting like supremely overrated. It's kind of a weird thing now. I think it's the letterbox problem. It's like skewing it, but everyone on there is giving it like a 5. It's got like a 4.5 or something. Let's look real fast. It's got a 4.0. Okay, it's not as good as I thought, but the curve is skewed way to the right side. I just think it's really messy, and for all the parts that's cool that it does right, the Safdie formula of stress. I think they introduce too many things, and it gets really messy in the middle. The first act and the third act are really cool, and the second act is just like, it's just like, I don't even know what we were doing there. I feel like it feels like they lost the plot really bad, but the costumes are outstanding. The set design is outstanding. Most of the performances are outstanding. Timmy loses me a couple times, but I really liked Gwyneth Paltrow, and I really liked Mr. Wonderful in it. So like, there's some fun stuff there, and it's once again, right, I will go see the next Josh Safdie movie. I didn't watch the last Benny Safdie movie because I'm an asshole, but wrestling and fighting movies just don't get me as much, but I'll definitely try and check them both out. I really like the score. I like the kind of synthesis of things that they bring together. The whole orchestra is nice to see, and it's cool that someone's taking movies seriously, and there's something about it where it's like movies are in good hands, even though this one felt a little mid. I think Uncut Gems is pretty transcendent, so it's a little hard to follow that up. By no means a bad movie, however. I called it a 3.5 out of 5. Then, right after that, on the same day, I watched Isle of Dogs, and I'm a real sucker for animation. Like, I think I take it more seriously than real people half the time. I don't know what it is. I think it's just the amount of effort it takes is almost feels more. And then the other thing is like the way in which you're able to control all the minutia of everything. It also makes it feel like there's less that's in the hands of God almost. Like there almost should be no happy little accidents. So it's almost like you're getting like the purest, the most distilled, right, version of whatever the idea was. And I think this one's really fun. I mean, Wes's two animated features, I love them. I love dogs, and I love Fantastic Mr. Fox. And for me, if it's just gorgeous. It's just a feast for the eyes. I'm a sucker for Japanese shit any which ways because I'm a white guy. That's just how it goes. And then I really like the aesthetic that they pounded together. And then it's cool because I think they just do really fun stuff with the narrative where we have like 2D screens on their screens in the 3D world. And like, you know, they kind of don't do very many subtitles. I loved the pug that could watch TV and like was ordaining stuff from that. It's just like super fun, and you're just kind of like there the whole time. It's just a blast. It really reminds me of the Grand Budapest Hotel, where you don't really, I mean, the narrative's there, but it's more just like a progression of scenes, and that sounds stupid, but it's just like great voice acting, packed ass cast. And then I just really love like the art direction in it, and I love animation. I love claymation. Everything is kind of here for me. I think it's pretty funny, and then I think, you know, beyond it, it's kind of like Fantastic Mr. Fox. I think it has a little something to say. I think it has a little something to say about honor, dignity, responsibility, like the dog's purpose to its owner. Like there's this cool sense of like losing oneself in the, you know, in the big bad, not giving up. Because it kind of does the post-apocalyptic thing too. It's just a really cool blend of swags, and I just had an absolute blast with it. I have an absolute blast every time I put it on. It's one of the easiest, like, if I see it in the lineup and I'm having any type of trouble picking a movie, bam, there it is. So for me, I mean, it's a 5. I give 5s out easier to animation than I think I do to live action stuff. So good old 5 for you, Mr. West. On the 3rd, I went and watched Tuner in theater. This was a blast. This was so fun. Mr. Leo, I believe his name is. Let me make sure. Yeah, Leo Woodall. Dude, kid has star power. I've been waiting for somebody to see, like, you know, I think everybody hams up Timmy, but he's not as young as everybody says as he comes off, right? And then, like, Jacob Elordi doesn't do it for me. I just don't see the star power in a lot of these kids. I mean, Austin Butler kind of has it, but he does the Elvis thing really threw me. With Leo Woodall, it's like I genuinely think this could be like James Bond. Obviously, that would kind of take part of his career over his career for a bit. But like his American accent in this is so good that when I found out he was British, I was floored. I'm kind of talking around the actual movie here, but the other thing is like Dustin Hoffman in this is just an absolute pleasure to watch. Like he is great. I've just been spamming Dustin Hoffman movies on accident. And as I catch up more and more and more, I haven't seen Rain Man, need to watch that one. But as I catch up more and more and more, you know, like The Graduate, Midnight Cowboy, just all these things. And you're like, this guy is top 5. Like, if he doesn't make the Mount Rushmore, he's on the short list. Like, super cool that 2 of our best actors are named Hoffman. I digress. The grandma and then Havana Rose girl. I think that's her full name. I can't remember. She's in a lot of stuff right now too. I've seen her in Lurker. I've seen her in this, and then she was in that awful Nicholas Winding Refn movie, Her Personal Hell or Her Private Hell or whatever. Just everyone was good. Everyone was just a person, like a real person. There wasn't too much hamming up. There wasn't like performance-ass performances. These were just real people that you've met. So if they faltered, you would realize. Like, do you know what I'm trying to say? So it's really good to see that. And then obviously like Dustin Hoffman just has this charming grandpa kind of guy. There's just like, it's very tender at points, and I really love the focus on like the intricacies of things. So we have like the tumblers in the safe kind of click, 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 and then like the shit on the piano as well. Like we're focusing on like the small stuff that makes the larger, and I think that kind of just does a really good job of really making the editing kind of like the editing feels a little Fincher-esque at points, which is just super fun. There's not a breath wasted there, but the only reason I knocked it a little bit was just because I felt like the third act had like just wrapped up so organically and like had a nice bow on it, and it feels like they like undid the bow and then like let the ribbon fall and then tied it up one more time. So it almost felt like there was a fourth act that was kind of tacked on. But you know, honestly, this was just super fun. It was super trim, and it was super like sleek. There was nothing like transcendent about it, right? But it was just a blast, and I was super impressed with everybody. And I'll be watching anything Leo's in. I'm there. Anything by this Daniel Rohair fella. I'm there. You know what I mean? Like, this was just a great display and something great to go see. I wish it got a little more hubbub in the theater, but it was super fun, and I really liked the ragtag Israeli group of dudes. It reminded me of the guys that are carting around Miss Honora in Honora. Like, they have this like Three Stooges swag about them, but there is like this underlying like things could get serious, like people could get hurt or die. That I think kind of like pulls like tugs and pulls you kind of either way on like a tug of war thing. You're never exactly sure, and I think that really kind of keeps you in it as well. So a tuner, well, 4 out of 5 for them. On the 4th of June, I watched Casablanca. Wow, right? This is just one of the ones, dude. You get it. Like, it's so warm and it's so, like, it's one of the movies that you watch and you can see, like, the direct lineage between the stage play and the movie, right? The sets are awesome. Like, his bar is one of the top 5 places in movies I would love to just go hang out. They had shit like that in beautiful Atlanta where I live now. I'm there 3 nights a week at least, and I'm just going to see who I can bump shoulders with, chop it up. I just love it's so contained. It gives you this story. It knows what it is. It knows what it wants to say. It knows where it'd like to be, and it dances so well with this idea of the old world that's dead, right? To me, it's the old world that died after World War II. This will come up, I'm sure, later in videos, but it's this, like, it's before borders were, like, all the way there. It's before everything was drawn perfectly on a map with a bow on it, and, like, you couldn't go here without your passport, and you couldn't go there, and, like, if you knew a guy, you could make it happen, and there's, like, expats in all these countries with these, like, little communities, and it's just like this reminder of this place that once was, that will never be ever again. And there's something like, it's like there's a longing to that for me that really pairs well with obviously the romantic longing between Ingrid and Humphrey Bogart. Yes, I know that. Any which ways, the longing there is kind of like, it runs parallel to me. And then I feel like the warm, like it feels, even though it's black and white, like there's a warmth to it, like the candles and like the strange little lighting scenes. And it's so contained, but so larger than life. And to be able to hit the universal and the particular kind of in one swing is just out of this world. Watching this after Indiana Jones, I feel some Indiana Jones in this too, where it's that kind of sense of adventure. And it's our little, he's like an anti-hero, but you root for him in the same kind of way. And it's just like, there's a sense of freedom about it. And that's all the shit that I'm talking about earlier with, like, before everything was in a nice little box where it goes. And it has this thing that I've picked up on older movies where it's like, these are absolutely larger than life movie stars that, like, you can't even fathom how famous these people were. Like, these are A+ S tier list celebrities. They make Brad Pitt look like a dork. Like, it's just crazy to me. And I love to see them together, trading blows. It's so quotable. It's just really fun. And then when we end up going, you know, to the plane runway later, it makes you appreciate having been in only 2 or 3 locations before. It just does a really good thing. And he's great. And she's great. She's so heart-wrenched and like, and it just has so much power and so much swag. And so this one got a 5 out of 5. And I bumped it up even higher because not all 5 out of 5s are 6 out of 5s, but this was it's on my 6 out of 5 list. Just absolute classic. I love to see a classic that stands up to the test of time and the title it has been given by, like, so many people before me. So that was really cool. And next, on the 7th, I watched The French Connection. So this was kind of like the first in a long line of Friedkin movies I've been spamming a little bit. This was crazy. This felt like terrible cocaine. Like, there's cameras are just shaking, dropping everywhere. I think I counted like 3 shots on tripods this entire movie. And it looks and sounds gorgeous. Like, I love this, like, exploitive, like, 70s, like, film thing. It's, like, messy and nasty. It's like how New York, I feel like, was back then before they cleaned it up a little bit. And this is one of the ones where, like, the swag around it is really crazy because I'm a Wikipedia guy. I read a lot on Wikipedia. And when you tap on Friedkin or you tap on this movie, it's like his big Oscar moment. And it's cool. Like, I'm cool with this winning. I think it won Best Picture and Best Director, either or, right? I'm fine with that. I think that there's some maestro work here with the camera. But Gene winning Best Actor for this is, like, genuinely the funniest thing ever to me. Like, this is kind of a nothing burger performance. Like, it's not bad by any means. It's exactly what the movie calls for. But he's just, like, a corrupt cop that, like, grinds his teeth and, like, says the hard R. Like, it just doesn't, like... It doesn't really demand much of me, and it doesn't really, like, I didn't walk away from the movie going, wow, what a Gene Hackman performance. It kind of boils down to the entire movie is just a chase scene. Almost runs on to a point where it's a little ad nauseum, but there are some shots in here where he's, like, shooting between the tracks of, like, a train, like, to below, and you see somebody running, and you're just, like my eyes just got wide. And then that's, you know, where my comparison to, like, Shitty Blow comes in. But it's like, wow, how novel is this? It's just pretty funny because, like, so much of this movie is just people running through New York City, or Gene Hackman doing racist shakedowns, or, like, just screaming at the top of his lungs. And I really liked, I don't know if the hat's actually too small. Not super privy to how you wear these hats. But it looked like the hat was squeezing the fuck out of his head. I feel like that was kind of what was giving him the craziness. Like, I think his hat was just on too tight for the whole movie. But, you know, the writing here is not really anything to behold, but that's not what you're looking at. And you're barely listening. And it just kind of does this 70s thing that, like, I had a really big problem with A Woman Under the Influence for, where it kind of feels like they did the scene and Friedkin was like, you two in the back just have a conversation and then he's going to shake you down. And they're just, like, doing this weird thing where, like, I think the comparison I used last time was if you and your friend are trying to make up a conversation so that other people don't know you're eavesdropping. And clearly, like, the lines of dialogue are going like this. Like, they're not hitting each other. Like, they're running, like, parallel lines. And it's the weirdest, like, thing. And then he shakes them down and they're like, hey, man, what the heck, man? And it's just, like, it feels like they didn't really, like, rehearse very much. I don't know. But I'm digressing. This shit was a blast, right? And there's just some really funny things in it that just make me sit there and go, like, what? But it was a great first introduction to the guy. Because I haven't seen The Exorcist. That's his big one. But I've seen a couple, and this was a great first introduction. So I give this a 4 out of 5. So next we have I Love Boosters. This was an absolute fucking stinker bullshit movie. The only thing really it had going for it was, like, the set design, and the costume design was pretty cool. I liked that we had like the color-coded storefronts for this brand. And Will guy was pretty funny, doing his best, like, nerdy gay guy from LA, like, who runs the store but is like a walking mat for other people. Really trying to climb the ladder. But any attempt this makes at, like, trying to have some social commentary or some leftist freaking movie commentary is just so retarded that, like, anything he were trying to say, like, makes no sense. Like, it's so cat in the hat slapstick retarded that I almost wish that they didn't do any of that. Like, I almost just wish they let Keke Palmer, like, just kind of do her thing. But we have a bunch of weird exposition scenes that go nowhere. And we have a bunch of scenes later that go nowhere. And we're not really explained how this teleporter device works. And then they randomly bump into the Asian woman, like, immediately after she's stealing other stuff. It has a lot of Disclosure Day to it, where there's this, like, boomer schizophrenia going on, where they don't think about the mechanics of how any of this would work. They just know it progresses the story. And so it happens. And then, like, the happy ending where they, like, use the acceleration thing on the protest and then they accelerate the protest. It's just, like, stupid as fuck, dude. In a way that was, like, deeply offensive to me. And I saw some behind the scenes, and so I appreciate that they did some of the stuff, like, physically, like the big ball rolling down the hill that they built the whole little fake city for. I love stuff like that. But everything about this, everything this had to say was pretty vapid and, like, very, like, middle school communist manifesto. which gives it just absolutely negative points for me. But I gave it a 1.5 stars for the costume design and set design. Really shitty movie. Next, we have Mid-Closure Day. Mr. Spielberg, dude. This is Spielberg's Megalopolis. Just through and through. This is boomer schizophrenia, like on full display. I'm going to make a video about it, I think, because that's how bad it offended me. But I just kept thinking about it and kept bumping it down in score. And I kept getting videos of parts of it and people making fun of parts of it and going, yeah, that was actually the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. So this, I Love Boosters and Backrooms are tied for the 3 worst screenplays of this year, to where you just can't even imagine how this got past anyone. There's like 10 to 15 things that are brought up in this movie that are just never brought up again. Really stupid. Like, the guy can speak alien, and it happens once at the end when he's like, tells them like, listen or whatever, this fucking stupid shit. The worst maybe thing about this was Spielberg going around like this was going to change everyone's lives and this was going to like blow everyone's mind. And then everyone kind of was just like, at least that I was around, was kind of like, this did not blow my mind at all. Like, this isn't like a deep interrogation of faith. This isn't like a deep interrogation of like a Big Brother kind of thriller. It just wants to be 4 different things at once. And I'll definitely do more in my video, but the screenwriting here is just like the worst shit ever. There's like a scene where Josh is literally Edward Snowden and his wife or girlfriend or whatever is literally Catholic girl number 1, and then they're talking about like truth and how everyone has a right to know and stuff, and it's just like the most on the nose J. Cole retard shit ever. The dad trauma is pointless. The Jesus faith thing is pretty fruitless. The magic rock, like, there's a million plot holes where, like, when you hold the rock, they can, like, see where you're at. Yeah, they can, like, possess you through the rock. So then he, like, puts it in the backpack, and then he, like, turns himself in to them or whatever and gives it to her to go out the back. And then they find out he doesn't have the rock, and then they don't just possess her and, like, see where she is. These are just big moments where Spielberg was just like, or it wasn't Spielberg, it's the guy that wrote Black Bag, which was actually cool, and he wrote like OG Indiana Jones and all the bad ones. Guy sucks. He just didn't care. He just wanted the plot to progress, and he wanted this cool moment to show. It's supposed to be this big pull the curtain back moment, and he's showing footage that everyone has seen on Reddit. There's just no blowing people's minds anymore. And that's something I think boomers are going to have to like grapple with for a while. Because sadly, I kind of think that Spielberg's thing is either give you so much adventure that you can't stop smiling, or like try and blow your mind. And you could still do adventure, but I think he's getting a little too old to even know what adventure is anymore. And then once again, you can't really surprise people anymore. So next we have Zootopia. Super fun. I'd never seen it before. I really liked it. The anthropomorphized animal stuff is super fun to me. You have your beaver engineers and stuff, or construction workers or whatever. It looked really good, and the voice cast was like super funny to me. It kind of does the Ratatouille playbook, where we use the animals to be like anyone can be anything. But there's great set pieces, and I just had a blast. I really like, obviously the Godfather reference. I'm a dork, but you could tell who made this had like a lot of fun. And you could tell they really care. And so, 4 out of 5. Oh, Disclosure Day is a 2 out of 5. It might get dropped again when I rant about it more. But anyways, Zootopia, 4 out of 5. Hoppers was the next day. We were staying at our friend's house, and these were just easy to put on, I think, on like Disney Plus or something. I liked it. There's this new genre of Pixar animation that's kind of like throwing me off. It's clearly like still done by a team. It's not like AI'd or anything, but I don't know what to make of it. I'm not sure. I think I just prefer the old one. And it was cool. It had like a good idea going for it. And I think some of the montages were really well done. And it's like a return to form after Soul and Elio, which I thought were both like super mid-pack/bad. But it's good to see that. I did fall asleep, can't lie, which is bad looks, but we had been doing a lot of manual labor getting our security deposit back at the house, so I can't really fault it for that. And I only fell asleep for like 5 minutes. So, you know, three and a half. Not mad. Not worth talking much about. Next, I watched The Nice Guys on the 21st, and I really like this movie. It's been one of my sleeper favorites for a while. I think it does the neo-noir like super well. I think Ryan Gosling has like, as we were talking about Leo Woodall earlier, I think he is like our genuine like last movie star where like I feel like Tom Cruise and Leo and them have like lost it because they're just doing shit too far and in between, and everything they do doesn't just have this explosive, larger than lifeness about it. And I think when Ryan does stuff, it does. Obviously, Project Hail Mary, the third Fall Guy was kind of a dud. I think it made money, but no splashes. But him and Russell Crowe here are just outstanding, dude. Super funny together. He does physical comedy in a way that I don't think anyone else could do. Like when he's trying to open the bathroom door and drops the cig between his legs and is trying to keep the door open, swimming with the mermaids at the party. There's just great gags here and great set pieces. The shootout at the end with the rotating car displays. Something about this is just so 70s. They do the porn backdrop. LA is such a fun setting for movies. There is like a weird thing where like the DOJ lady felt like she was like really in like a real like Oscar movie and was like giving her best acting chops. And it was a little weird. It felt like they were like in different movies when they would cut between the mediums of the people, but I don't know. And then the thing on the hand of like you'll never be happy and it smears is a little dorky and doesn't just like no, but after all this time, like this is still just one of my favorite movies, and I put it on my 6 out of 5 list. That's a fiver. Shane Black is kind of few and far between, and there's a couple of duds. It seems like he's kind of a little one note with this and like Kiss Bang Bang and stuff, but I'm a sucker for it and really enjoyed it. 22nd, I watched There Will Be Blood. Kind of just going through and watching a lot of stuff that I used to love or like still do and just haven't seen in a while because I'm sort of new on the Letterboxd hustle. And this one just absolutely stands up. It has such a strange pace and like vibe and build out to it that's like really not like any other movie, even other PTAs. But obviously, this Daniel Day-Lewis performance is like top 5 ever. What can you say about it? He's like drooling with rage and shit. And I think it's cool that the cinematography kind of like takes a back seat here. Like they're not doing too much to make shit like OD pretty. They're just actually building like an oil derrick like out in the field. And then when the fire blows up giant as fuck off of it, you're just like in awe because it's giant fire oil geyser. Like they don't need to do any like A24 isms to it. And I appreciated that. The set design's great. I was just struck with a sort of a kinship I felt with him. Obviously, he's kind of evil, but I did like. There's this thing with the big company guys are laughing at him, and they're like trying to buy his land and stuff. Like, I love the anger at the dismissal, right? Like, I've had these moments in my life, and when people do that to you, you just want so badly to just get rich, blow up, and act like you don't know nobody. And he gets to do that, and every time I watch this movie, I'm like a little alarmed by it, but I find myself relating to him in a way. It's the kind of, he says it at one point, it's what else would I do with myself, right? And damn right, what would you do? What would you do? Since the Place is great, and obviously like the finale, that final line is like a top 3. I'm struggling to like kind of come up with stuff in my head, but man, I'm finished. And he's like, crisscross applesauce in the bowling alley. Doesn't get much better than that. Jeez. 5 out of 5. It's on the 6 out of 5 list. On the 25th, I watched The Incredibles. Another one. I was just kind of going through ones I knew I loved once again. And this is one of my top 4 favorite movies on Letterboxd. It's probably my second favorite movie of all time. This one is just like amazing. Like, I just love everything about this. The art direction, like the kind of gooey architecture thing. I think they call it like Ray Gun Gothic or something. I talk about Syndrome's Island like it's a real place and I can go there and like I can buy it. And I tell people all the time, like, oh, this reminds me of Syndrome's Island. And I know it's in a longer lineage of other things. But to me, that's like the moment. I watched this when I was like 7 or something. And I watched it like 100 times. And I just wanted to be Dash. I was like, I wish I could run super fast and like fight crime and stuff. And Syndrome's awesome. And I think this, people talk a lot about the family dynamic. how we're all stronger together. And obviously the powers amplifying each other's powers and like learning to love each other and stuff is awesome. It's great. But I think something that people don't talk about enough is just like the death of exceptionalism in this. Him working at the insurance agency trying to help people and they don't want to help people. Their last name being Parr. Obviously, some of this, they feed it to you a little bit, but it kind of does it in a way where everything beats around it. And then when you finish the movie, all of the glances by it kind of build you a full picture. So, I mean, you know, when he's at the end and they tell him to tone it down a little bit to win second place, like there is this like dulling of the exceptional that you kind of got to do in the modern day and age. And I think it's pretty sick. And I love that when she's flying with the kids in the plane and she's like screaming like, there are kids in the car. Like my heart drops every time. I know they're not going to die. And I feel like heartbroken about it. I don't know. And then obviously, right, animation, this just has some of the best set pieces like ever because you can do that with animation. When she gets stuck through the successive doors in Syndrome's Island and then her legs like slingshot through and like kicks the dude and she like unlocks herself and then she like brushes off. Wow. Edna mode. Wow. Right? I just love this shit, dude. I love it. I love Dash running through on the water and stuff. I love when Mr. Incredible has to escape from the explosion and washes up in the cave. I really, really love the montage when he's getting into shape. The sunset, like everything about it is just gorgeous and dripping. And obviously when they're cleaning house and he's reading and just lifts up the couch and she's stretch arm vacuuming, you're just like, of course. That is the most perfect thing ever. And obviously the intro with the flashback superhero interviews is just to die for. This is the best animated movie and the best superhero movie, in my opinion. It's not even close. It's the only superhero movie that deals with like what it actually means to be super. So 5 out of 5, easy 6 out of 5. God bless you, Brad Bird. 26th, I watched The History of Violence. I am kind of the opinion that Cronenberg is the master of the 3.5-star movie. Like, I don't get the hype at all. And to be honest with you, I'm not a body horror guy, so that could be lost on me. But stars of the show, Viggo's eyes in this are outstanding. William Hurt, when he is on the screen in this, that was just one of my favorite things, like, ever. Like, I don't know, dude. I wish he was in the whole movie. I mean, it's cool that you have to wait that long to get him. But, dude, he was great. He was so great. The violence here is really good too. So I like the close-ups of people just getting fucking blammed. I like when people don't flinch away from it. And that is something that Cronenberg definitely doesn't do. It's just this weird thing of like, I feel like we're obviously like with the name of it and everything in the movie, it does this kind of like, here's the ugly underbelly of society and like violence underpins it all. Yes. Right? Of course. Like, we've all seen this. We've seen American Beauty. We've seen David Lynch. We've seen this 100 times. But it's just, you know, here it's cool because the violence, they pull no punches. But the stuff on top of the violence that, like, the violence underpins is, like, I don't fucking care. Like, their kids dude, their son is so annoying. He's such a loser. And it's, like, when he's like, I thought it was a bitch cocksucker faggot or something, like when the bully's bullying him and you're just like, bro, like, and then it's played like it's a zing, like everyone in the locker room's like, oh, it's just like, dude, I love a good evil Ed Harris, can't lie. And then Maria Bella is like, she's great in everything that she's in, but she's kind of like working with nothing. It just doesn't like, I don't know. What is that? I forgot where I was. Something about Maria Bella. She's great, but the lines, like, she's acting really well. I can see it in her face, but the lines are kind of, like, bad. So I don't know. I think the things that it grapples with are a lot better than how it grapples with them. It kind of does this beating the curse thing, can you reinvent yourself thing. And so I think it tries to ask bigger questions, and it's fun, but it's not great. So that's a 3-5. And then last, I watched Cure on June 28th. And this one was, it grew on me a lot. Because over the runtime, you're kind of like, okay, like, I'm not sure I know what's happening. This is pretty slow burn. And you're kind of like, what's going on? And it kind of like meanders for a while. But what it does do really well is like as it slow burns, there's a mounting sense of dread that you can't escape from. It's like to sneak up on you, silent killer. Like I really enjoyed that over the course of the runtime, you feel like you're losing your mind, like with the guy. So I think it does some really cool things where I think it's like how would I say? It's like the anti-reason procedural, right? We're used to watching these movies like Seven, not Seven's not a good example. Scratch that. But like we're used to watching like All the President's Men and Spotlight, and you can name a bunch of detective movies where over the course of the runtime, like we're going to use like logic and like there's going to be, I'm sure, some coincidences and stuff, but we're going to be able to put together this story through big logic, big brain. We're going to be able to like really nail down what's going on. And this one is cool because as we continue to go deeper and deeper into Japanese joker world, there is no reason. None of this makes sense, and you actually don't really know what you're looking at. And so I think insofar as that, like, it's pretty sick. And I really like the use of the X's to mark people. It feels like, I don't know when this came out, 97. So it feels like Scorsese took some of this, like in The Departed, where, you get the X's and stuff. And it's just like a really cool, like, visual cue. And I just really like, so the Japanese Joker guy, when he kept going, like, I don't know, at the beginning was kind of getting on my nerves, which actually knocked it a little bit for me. But once we get to the part of, like, him talking to the guy, and we're in these nasty places with a bunch of mud and shit, it seems like they're both, like, kind of infatuated with each other on, like, a Batman Joker level, where they both have such, like, polar opposite understandings of the world that they, like, can't understand each other, like, at all. But they're very enamored with that. Like, it seems like our Joker guy thinks he's like the other guy's the coolest guy ever, because everyone else he asks, who are you? And at some point they break and they tweak. But our guy, he keeps going, who are you? And our guy's like, dude, I'm a husband and I'm a detective. And then Joker's like, no, but who are you? And he's like, that's who I am, dude. Like, that's it. That is all that there is. Like, it's this thing of like him throwing himself into his work. He like becomes that. Like, that's what he is. Like, you are your work. You are what you devote yourself to. You are your experiences. You're something else outside of it too, but like, you're also that. And I think that's just like a really cool, like, there's definitely more to be said about this. But I genuinely had a pretty good time with this. We're dragged like deeper and deeper into this. So he kind of like loses his mind because he won't give up on it, where everyone else gives up and then loses their mind. There's really no way out of this. It's all mud and nasty and dark. The shadows get very long. And I thought it was pretty sick. The guy being in this and Perfect Days is like really funny to me. And it's like two performances I really like and two movies that I really like. I don't know. And also like, what a final scene. Like, that's one of them ones too. And what, like, just cut to black. Like, that's great. 4 out of 5. And what a movie to end the month on. So that's what I watched in June. And I'll be back shortly with what I watched in July. I just came up with this idea and wanted to go back a month. So we'll chit chat soon. Cheers.